The Simpsons Hit and Run. Is it good? Yeah, in The Simpsons Hit and Run, you play as most of the Simpsons family, plus Apu. The game takes place in Springfield over 7 levels, each of which contains 7 different story missions and side activities. Springfield is split into 2 small maps. It's great to be able to drive around the iconic town and be able to see all the different locations from the TV show. I just wish it had been one big map rather than 2 small ones. Speaking of maps, there's no map to look at, which makes it a little more difficult to find the side content such as races and bonus missions. The main missions were fun, most of them have you driving around doing one of 5 different things: racing, escaping, following, delivering or destroying. While fun, they did get a bit repetitive. That said, I can't take away from the driving mechanics. The car controls felt great. I was surprised at just how good they felt for a PS2 game. They felt ultra responsive and I found it easy to weave in and out of traffic and take shortcuts throughout the town. Walking around, punching and platforming was a little less impressive, as it felt too floaty. Luckily, for the most part, I was behind the wheel for most of my playthrough. Speaking of cars, there's so many to collect, each of which is usually a reference to past Simpsons episodes. The game is also jam-packed full of other references and Easter eggs to find, if you're a big Simpsons fan. The difficulty was a good balance, not too easy, but there was a couple of missions that took me over 20 minutes to complete. But if you learn all the different shortcuts and unlock the best cars, you shouldn't have too much of an issue. The game has a decent story. I'd say it's just as good as some of the Simpsons episodes. While the game wasn't laugh out loud start to finish, I often did have a big smile on my face due to all the jokes that the game's constantly throwing at you. All the voice actors from the show played their parts for each character, which was great. One thing I didn't like about the voice acting is the overuse of the same lines. Sometimes characters would repeat their catchphrases and one-liners within seconds of just delivering them, which became annoying after playing the game for hours. Graphically, it looks great for a PS2 game. The game had cutscenes. They weren't 2D like the show, rather 3D, which looked a little dated. It looked similar to when Homer entered the 3rd dimension, but slightly worse. The game's frame rate was often very unstable, depending on what was on screen, and at times would drop to what looked like sub 30. The soundtrack was great and felt like it belonged in the Simpsons universe. That was Simpsons Hit and Run, and I give it 7 out of 10.